Welcome to PCN Life. I'm Brian Sullivan.
And I'm Julie Thompson. On tonight's show, we have Jeff Hills on set from Healthy Appetites to talk the latest in the world of natural remedies.
We stopped by Pure Motion Barre in Kingston to talk the benefits for injury recovery.
And we start tonight's show with the Plymouth Rocks Events at Memorial Hall. And Brian, this was a really unique event and something that you have a connection to.
A little bit of a connection. It was funny, the people that we talked to from Plymouth Rocks Events, we were kind of running almost parallel lives because I came up in high school and college and post-college as a music radio person. I interned at WBCN. These guys, a couple of them worked at WBCN.
Yeah.
I ended up working at WFNX in Providence and Boston. These guys worked at FNX in
Wow.
Boston. And one of them now currently works at the River in Boston. And back before I came here, I used to read traffic for well, that was one of our connections, was the River. I'm like, look at us.
Wow.
And now we all end up back here in Plymouth for this really cool story. I think you'll enjoy it.
Let's take a look.
The proper term for what the attendees at this gathering are looking at might be archives. The slang term for this stuff when it first came out as promotional items may have been swag. The word to describe the fact that one man has been able to keep this collection in pristine condition over the course of several decades? Impressive.
The items on display upstairs are really cool, especially for people like me that got their feet wet in music radio and can remember what it was like when the record companies would include these sort of one-of-a-kind promotional pieces with the new music that came out. For Plymouth Rocks Events, this is their first real public event leading up to what they expect will be a very big event come late October.
Not to give away the ending of the movie here, but the plan for October is for Plymouth Rocks Events to have what they hope will be the first of many film and music festivals. These archives, which weave together the two camps seamlessly, are serving as a prelude to that event and giving people an idea of the kind of artistic direction that they'll be taking with the festival.
My idea for Plymouth Rocks was to put on cool music and film events and share proceeds with local school music programs. That easy. Everyone on our board, everyone involved with Plymouth Rocks is either a musician or an artist or a DJ or a filmmaker. All these things transformed all of our lives, and we would love to pay that forward for kids to have the opportunities that we had, but a lot of kids can't afford it or they don't have the opportunities. So if we can help at all for a kid to get a scholarship, to get music lessons, to get an instrument, that would just be awesome and hopefully pave the way like it did for us.
This event in particular was the first for Plymouth Rocks. The main attraction for the night was the archive collection of David Bieber, who during his time as Creative Services Director at WBCN in Boston and as the Director of Special Projects for the Boston Phoenix and WFNX was able to collect all of this incredible stuff.
I've been collecting these things for probably 30, 40 years, and the great thing is now that I'm able to share them with the public, because up until Mike started opening boxes and coming to my house and going to my warehouse space in Norwood at the Norwood Space Center, it was basically hidden away, sheltered in boxes, and not seen by the public. Now, this is an opportunity to put it out and just dive in the deep end of the collection.
The movie posters, concert promos, and anything else in the big hall were all for the eyes only. But there was a raffle with plenty of neat and rare memorabilia to possibly walk home with. While the archives got people in the door, the combination of music, food and drink, and the idea that they were contributing to something that they believed in kept them there.
It's for a good cause. It's to support music in schools, and that's really passing the torch to the next generation, making it happen and keeping the continuity going on. That's really, really critical.
At Plymouth Memorial Hall, I'm Brian Sullivan for PCN Life.
We are so pleased to welcome back on set today Jeff Hills, who's the owner of Healthy Appetites in Plymouth. Welcome back, Jeff.
Thanks for having me.
We have talked to you many times about many different issues that have to do with the body, the human body, the response of the human body, and your whole emphasis is on natural ways to treat or to counteract things that go wrong versus medicinal ways.
That's right.
Okay, so let's start today. We're going to talk about a number of things, but let's start today with the hefty topic of inflammation, because people hear about it all the time. What is it? What do we do about it? What do your clients say? Go.
It's all people want to talk about right now. We've got something that's come on the market recently called CBD.
Yes, very hot.
We did a segment about that maybe a couple of times ago when I was on the show.
Yeah.
That segment we took and made a clip of, and it's been viewed over 5,000 times. People are really interested in this.
So define, what is CBD for those who don't know?
CBD is derived from the hemp plant.
Marijuana.
which is essentially similar to the marijuana plant. And it is the non-psychoactive part of the plant. So it's a cannabinoid, and CBD is cannabidiol, which is a separate one from the one that everyone knows, which would be THC. Now, THC is the one that people use to smoke and you get high when you do THC. CBD doesn't do that. So it's not psychoactive. It is more used for inflammation and anxiety. So it's great for both of those things, and those are two of the things that people want to know about and want to address the most when they come into our store. You know, these are two big things. It's one of the better things for addressing either one of those. So people who are using it for anxiety are having great results. People who are using it for inflammation are getting great results.
Give me some examples of inflammation. Like what does that mean?
No, I'll give you a personal example.
Okay.
I raked my yard this week.
Yeah.
So I notice every year as I get older, this becomes more and more of a task. And I've been doing the CBD along with some other things to help kind of address the inflammation. I can't believe how much, you know, my shoulders and my back hurts from raking what is actually a fairly small yard. So people deal with inflammation just with their day-to-day tasks.
So muscle aches are inflammation.
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of diseases are inflammation driven. And it's hard to think most diseases. And
that's been really, really hot in the news lately about how CBD is helping with Parkinson's, with cancer, with huge diseases, with MS.
Psoriasis.
So how does that work?
We weren't really sure how CBD worked exactly, but we found that all of us have a system in our body called the endocannabinoid system.
Okay.
And it turns out that you and I and everybody else watching, we make our own cannabinoids.
Okay.
So we think of cannabinoids as coming from the hemp plant or the cannabis plant.
But it's actually internal.
You make your own.
Okay.
Which is why the plant works so great with us. So you make a chemical just like THC. So if you've heard of the runner's high.
Yes.
And we think of that as being an endorphin thing. Well, that's an endocannabinoid thing. You're making your own endogenous THC-like chemical that's making you feel the runner's high. Obviously, you're not making it so much that you're literally high.
Right.
But you feel good.
It's just euphoric.
And we're finding that, you know, the same thing with the CBD. You make a CBD-like chemical for your endocannabinoid system, which is why these things fit so well in our body and work so well.
So you're just augmenting it.
You're throwing something in that your body says, oh, we know that.
We like this.
We've seen this
before.
Yes,
we're not going to attack this. We're going to embrace this.
Yeah, we have a whole system for this. We'll know exactly what to do with it.
Right. And it has no detrimental effects that we know of.
CBD has no detrimental effects that I'm aware of at all.
Yes.
I mean, THC, of course, you can do stupid things while you're
exactly.
high, but I think
but
that's the biggest negative.
And that's why there's still a little bit of misconception of anything that comes from the marijuana plant. Oh, it can't be completely good because
we find there's a lot of pushback, especially with you know, the older crowd. You know, people. I'm 56. People older than me, maybe in their 70s and 80s more than anybody, who still think of it as being, you know, in the same classes as heroin and PCP and all this stuff, and it's just not.
Yeah, I know a gentleman who's probably in his 70s and takes the CBD. He has a form of cancer, and he said it's just life-changing. It's just so helpful.
It's used for so many different things, and cancer is one of the big ones.
Right.
I just came back from a couple of really great trainings with the two biggest companies in the industry, and the stuff that they're working on is pretty amazing. And with things like cancer, people are using as much as 300 milligrams of CBD to address cancer, the symptoms that come with cancer, the things that they deal with chemo and radiation.
Exactly, right.
They're getting great results.
I know, yeah. So more to come on this.
This is going to be...
This is only going up.
This is a huge thing. Inflammation is such a huge thing for everybody that the most researched substance on the planet is turmeric.
Okay, now what is turmeric?
Turmeric is it's the root that makes, you grind it up, it makes mustard yellow.
Okay.
It's used in curry.
Okay,
so
it's
we
a
think
plant.
of it as a culinary plant.
Yep.
But it's probably it is the most studied substance on the planet. Not the most studied plant, not the most studied medicinal plant. Thing, period.
And what does turmeric do?
Turmeric is a great anti-inflammatory. So that's why that's getting so much studies. It's been studied for everything. As I said earlier, we think that inflammation is involved in almost every disease. So turmeric has been used to address things like in the active component in turmeric is curcumin, so I don't want people to get confused. I say turmeric. I'm kind of using that phrase interchangeably with curcumin, which
Okay.
is the active component in the turmeric.
All right.
But it's been explored for depression,
Really? Yep.
for diabetes, for intestinal issues, lung issues, brain issues. It's used as a preventative for Alzheimer's.
Wow.
The people in India eat curry
All the
almost
time.
every day.
Right.
And they have 1/45th of the level of Alzheimer's we have.
That
in
we
this
have,
country.
right.
And
Yeah, they
that's
call
not
it the
even-
brain. They call it the brain drug. That it's not a drug. It's just it's a
Not a
plant.
drug,
It's
yeah.
a root.
And
Yeah.
it's just, and this is where I have a feeling now. There's been over, last time I checked, the official number was just under 10,000 studies on curcumin.
Wow.
By now it's well over 10,000.
Sure.
And that is at least double the second most investigated substance on the
Right.
planet.
Right.
I have a feeling that within the next 5 years, cannabis is going to pass it.
Yeah.
The studies going on in cannabis are insane.
Right.
Because it does so many things.
Right.
And we know about THC and we know about CBD.
Yep.
But we don't really know entirely about the other hundreds of cannabinoids that are in the plant.
Right.
So there's going to be a lot
And
coming out.
how, when you're studying something new or something that seems to have such a profound impact on so many different diseases or conditions, how long does it take generally before you absolutely know there's statistical evidence that this is absolutely going to do this, or do we already have that?
Oh, we do. We have
We already
that
have it.
on. Yeah, we have that on the cannabis plant. We have tons of that on turmeric and curcumin.
Turmeric, yeah.
I mean, these are things that
This
are,
is just- this
well
is-
investigated,
yep.
well established. We didn't do a lot of study on cannabis in this country because it was very difficult.
Right.
A lot of the good studies originally came out of Israel.
Now, let me ask you, for the audience viewing out there, now I know drug companies make their money making drugs, and they've done a wonderful job making many, many drugs that have improved many, many lives. Are they involved in the studies of this too? Because
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because
Yeah.
it's not really competition. It's more.
It's
more
competition, but
Well,
it's-
it
but
is,
it's-
but it's a marrying of what they do and what nature has done.
Well, what
correct?
they tend to do is, for instance, there's already a medication made out of cannabis called Marinol. There's a couple of others that are relatively new that slipped my mind, but there's some that are used for things like people who can't stop vomiting.
Okay. Yep.
There's a
And
drug
it-
that's made out of
And it
cannabis
works.
that
Yep.
is amazing. Like, stops it almost instantly.
Yep.
So there's some really crazy studies going on with people isolating things
Sure.
within the plant. I don't like when they try to make it into a drug. And that's what happens
Yeah.
when the pharmaceutical companies get involved, is they try to take a component of the plant, they patent that one component, and then they try to turn it into a drug.
Okay.
I like the fact that we're using the plant
Itself.
So the extracts, the one, for instance, things that I dabble in, none of them are isolates. They're more or less a whole plant
Okay,
extract.
okay.
And I think that's the way you want to do it. There's
All
actually
right.
some danger, just for people who are getting things, for instance, on the internet. There are some
Oh, yeah.
really purified, and they're making a big deal like it's a great thing with the purified CBDs. The only people who have any problem with CBD are people who are using the crystalline purified CBD, so stay away from those.
Okay. All right. Let's talk now about allergy season, because it's here.
It's here in force.
What can people do? What's a natural way to treat your allergies, or is there?
I love quercetin. Quercetin is an extract of blue-green algae. It's a bioflavonoid, which is just a chemical out of plants, usually something that gives the plant its particular color.
Yep.
It's a great way to block histamine. And when I say block, not the way that we're accustomed to most
To
things that work in
antihistamine,
allergies
right.
to being histamine blockers.
Yep.
This blocks the production of histamine.
Okay. So you don't even have it
So
to
there's
get
nothing
rid of
to
it.
block. Yeah, you're not making as much.
Good.
So that, I think, is a great way. The plant nettle is a fantastic thing to do this time of year if you've got seasonal allergies. And then if you're somebody who's on a bunch of medications and you're leery of throwing in a plant, anything, even though the stuff we sell is very safe, you're leery of an interaction, you can do a homeopathic product. So there's lots of homeopathic products for allergies, and homeopathic products are things that you can do with any medication. You really can't hurt yourself with them. It's very, very, almost unmeasurable amounts of plant materials and other materials. I mean, you make homeopathic stuff out of things like, cobra venom and arsenic. But once they're done in a homeopathic form, you can't hurt yourself.
You can't hurt yourself, right.
And they're very, very effective, and those are some of the more effective allergy things, especially for things like mold, dust, and yeast allergies.
Right, which the mold allergy I've heard is just...
Oh, it's brutal.
And people are just finding out now that they might have been exposed to mold for years and years and years, and it has awful health ramifications.
I think just in light of where we are,
True.
geographically,
Yes.
that we're just a mold factory,
Yes.
especially indoors.
Yep.
Because we don't get a lot of sun. We get a
No,
lot of
and
cold,
things
we get a lot
don't
of
dry
damp.
out.
Yep.
Right.
So-
So what do you take for that? If you've been exposed to mold and you have some awful reaction to it?
Well, I mean, you can have a really awful reaction.
Right.
If you've got, if you're literally being poisoned by the mold, that's
something else,
beyond
right.
the health food store realm.
Exactly,
Go
exactly,
see
exactly.
someone who's a professional.
Right.
But with that being said, for things like mold, the homeopathic ones are the better ones. There's not a lot of things that are specific
Yeah, to that.
to mold or dust allergies or anything like that.
But no matter what anybody has, they can come in, they can talk to you, they can say, what have you seen? What are the trends? What has seemed to work? And your best influencers, I assume, are your clients that come in and come back and tell you.
We learn a lot from our customers.
Yeah.
I mean, people come in and tell us, well, I tried this and that didn't work for me.
Yeah.
So we start to think, well, this seems to be the more effective of the products.
Right.
And that's, I think, a lot of what we do.
Yep.
You can read all you want on the internet,
But you can talk,
You don't
which
really,
is nice. It's nice to just talk to someone and say,
good to get some direction.
Yeah, this is my situation. Have you seen something like it? Wonderful. Okay, great. As usual,
Thank
we'll
you.
have you back in a couple of months and talk about what else is new.
All right, I look forward to it.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thank you.
Now we head to Kingston to hear from the new health and wellness contributor, Pure Motion Barre, to hear more about the benefits of barre exercise on recovering from injuries.
About 12 years ago, I had a corporate job in the city, had lots of travel, would travel domestically all over the place. At the time, I sat at a desk full-time. It was a highly stressful job for me. I was looking for something that would allow me to get up out of the chair, something that involved a little bit of stress relief as well as some fitness. I tried other various fitness styles such as Zumba, step aerobics, those type of things, but then discovered barre. I immediately took to barre. I liked the low impact. I liked being in a room filled with various women from different places in their lives. Some were postnatal, some were prenatal. Some women were looking to lose a lot of weight, some were looking for increased flexibility. There was a variety of ages, and it just felt like a place that anyone could belong, and that's what originally drew me to barre. So coming out of an injury, people typically go through a series of physical therapy appointments. After that physical therapy, a lot of therapists do recommend taking barre classes as the next step into getting back to their true self. So for instance, something like with tennis elbow, we would work either a basic bicep curl where you're curling on up, which isolates the bicep. We would then work the tricep to engage both muscles working isometrically. So you work your bicep and then you would immediately go to your tricep and work both muscles in different forms. One of the most common injuries that we see here at the barre is lower back pain. Typically, lower back pain is caused by a variety of things. Every person is different, but the majority of people who have lower back pain, it's actually stems from a weak core. So we work all of the major core muscles one at a time, which brings together the whole unity of the core, which will then strengthen the lower back. So to alleviate lower back pain, we would work the transverse abs, which are the innermost lower abs right above your pubic bone. Some of those exercises are hip raises. We also come into prone work, which is when you're laying on your belly, your hands are close to the sides of your body, and you rise on up, engaging through the core, pressing the belly button up into the spine, and squeezing through the glutes, and that helps strengthen the lower back. Knee injuries are another common injury that we see coming into the barre classes. There are a ton of ways that you can work your knee back to full health. Lots of those activities include your quads, all the way up through your IT band, up your leg, your calf muscles as well in the back. Engaging through the glute actually helps. So your body is all connected. And you'd be surprised that working your core can actually help your knee because it's connected through all of your muscles are connected. So the core is the center of the body and everything is kind of stems off of there. So we would work the IT band to help with the knee, we would work the quads, you would work your inner thigh, you would also work your glute. All of that would help the knee. I'm Stephanie Bogier from Pure Motion Barre in Kingston. Thank you for watching PCN's Health and Wellness.
Now you've done barre, correct?
Yep.
Tough stuff?
It's really hard. It's really, she makes it look so easy, and it's really, really difficult. It takes a lot of strength. And like she said, your core is everything. Everything you do is based around your core. And if you have a strong core, you can get better faster. It's a really great low impact way to fix yourself after accidents.
Yeah, you know, when I see that, I think of ballet, right? Because you've got the bar there. And then I think about, I don't know if it was the 60s or 70s, maybe even into the 80s, they used to have pro football players. Maybe they still do it.
Yes.
They would practice
ballet absolutely.
Moves.
Agility,
Right, agility, but again, you know, using that core strength and dealing with injuries.
And anything that makes you better and makes you stronger, why not?
Why not? Well, that's all we have time for tonight. We had a great time as usual, and we look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks for PCN Life.
And if you want to see the show again, you can check out our website, and PCN is also on YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook to get up-to-date info. We'll see you next week for a brand new PCN. And from all of us at PACTV, have a great week.